In this video we're going to learn about how to create Mmenu, which is basically mobile menu in React. So let me show you an example. This is the burger icon. If you click on this, you have a sidebar, menu sidebar that opens, and then you have different menu items listed here. If I click on close, it closes. Okay, so we won't build this exactly, but we'll build something similar to this. Okay, the idea is not to show you how to do CSS and make it beautiful. The idea is to show you how to actually make it. Okay, what's the logic behind it. Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is I'll go to my React Workshop Git repository, and I'm going to check out to the branch which is React App Webpack, this one right here, so that I already have everything set up. So I've already done that. I've checked out that branch. You can also clone it if you want. And then I'm going to create a new branch. So later on this branch will be available for you for reference. And let's name this branch as Mmenu React App. Okay, I think a spelling mistake. Okay, great. Now let's go to our project. I've already opened this project, and I'm going to say npm run dev to start the server. Okay, and in the meanwhile I have the app.js, so let's just create a components directory where I'll keep all my components, and let's keep it home.js. so I'll create a file called home.js, and this is where I will say import React from React. I already got all of this set up. Okay, class home extends react dot component render return, and for now just return this is home. And then I also need to export it so it's available to the outside world, so other components can consume it. So export default. Since I'm already going to export one component, I can just do default home, and then let app component consume it. So over here in the app component I can just say home, and my PHP storm already included that on top. Okay, great. So by this time the server would have already be running. So I'm using Webpack dev server. I can go to this URL and just open it. Okay, so this is home. This is what we are getting displayed. I'm going to need the font awesome. So I'll just search font awesome, and I will get the version 5.8.2, and I will go to my public directory. Instead of index.html, I will just include that link. Oh, okay, not copied. Copy. Okay, so I've got that. Then I need the menu icon. So I'll search for menu, or I think it's called bar. Yep, that's the one. Oh, okay, right. Here it is. Okay, so I'll just copy this, and I'll go to my app home.js. I'll just paste it here. Let me see if I get that. Brilliant, I have the icon. Great. Okay, now let's just close these two. Okay, now you're going to need all of the menu items, so it's not good to repeat ourselves. So what I'm going to do is create a JavaScript file which will contain all of my menu items, so I can go ahead and loop through them dynamically. Later on you could also have them from your databases. This is just to get you an idea. So I'll say menu data, and let's say export const menu data, and that'll be an array of menu items. The first one can say label, it can say home, URL. For now I'll just say https codetech.com, and I can just copy all of this and just paste it a few times. And let's just change these to about contact us, blog, and this one can say probably higher or something, I don't know. Okay, so I've got few of the items in the menu. Okay, all I have to do is just loop through them. So I'm just below this, I'm going to create in fact I'll just wrap this inside of a div, and I will name it as menu button. Okay, now just below this is where we'll put our sidebar, okay, which will open when we click on this menu. So I'll name it as sidebar. Okay, and then I'm going to loop through that particular menu item. So I can say menu data. So you can see PHP Storm has already imported that from the menu data, and I'm going to check if it's got length, which means if there are any items inside of that, and then I'll say and. So if this value is to true, which means if there are items inside of menu data, then the expression on the right hand side will execute. So I will say UL, so we're going to loop through ULLI. Okay, so I'll say UL, and then I'm going to loop through the menu data using the map method, and then it gives me item, and then this is basically an expression to return. Sorry, the round brackets are for return. Okay, and then I can say li, and this is where I will need the a tag so that it takes me to that particular URL, and instead of href and hard coding it over here, I can just use item dot URL. I think that's what I put over there. Yes, URL. Okay, and inside of the a tag I can say item dot label. So item dot URL will be equivalent to this URL basically. Of course, this can be different each time. This is just for test purposes. Okay, and then most importantly, it needs to have a key, a unique key. So we need to put something unique. So make sure whatever you're putting, if it's a URL which is unique, you put that. In our case, URL is the same for everyone, so I can't put that. I'll put label because I can see this is unique. Okay, so I'll use item dot label as my key. Okay, and we can name this as, in fact we can go ahead, menu items. I can put that as a class name, and I can also wrap this inside of a div. In fact, I can put that as nav instead of div. Okay, now let's see how it's looking. So you can see we've got all our items. Of course, you need to style them. Currently, do I have? No, I don't have the style loader and CSS loader, so I'm just going to quickly install that. npm install style loader and CSS loader. This is to ensure that Webpack goes ahead and has the configuration of converting the CSS file into JavaScript so that it gets bundled up into one file and gets rendered. So in the meanwhile, while it's getting installed, let's just put the configuration here. Let's set some rules. So if it finds any CSS file, it is going to use the CSS loader and the style loader. So I'll say style loader and CSS loader. Okay, great. So that's done. I'll run my server again, Webpack dev server, npm run dev. Okay, so that's done. Now I would need my CSS file, so I'll create a file called style.css, and I'm just going to include that by importing it. Import, and it's outside, and then style.css. Okay, this is where I'll write all my CSS. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just write some CSS for these. So I will just say menu items and we can give this class name menu list, and just browser put some default padding and margin for the UL, so we'll just remove that. So padding is 0 and margin is 0. Okay, and then for list style none, and then we also have the a tag, so let's give it a class of menu link, and we will style it, and we'll say text decoration none. Okay, great. Okay, can't resolve style. Okay, I think there's a spelling mistake there. It's style loader, not styled loader. So I'm going to say cancel, restart again. In the meanwhile, we'll continue to style and add some logic. Okay. So once we've styled it, we will put the logic to open this sidebar. So now you can see it's running, up and running. Okay. So let's go ahead and do some more styling here itself. We will say color, make it 555. We'll give some padding. Let's say 10 pixels and then 16 pixels. Okay, and display flex. Okay, and give some border also. So border bottom 1 pixel solid, and then say 555. Okay, all right, that's great. So you can see currently it's too big, but we'll take care of that. Don't worry. We'll give it a width. So we'll give it a width of 30 VH. Sorry, VW. So VW means Windows width. So whatever the width of the window is, it's going to take 30% of that. So you can see now it's 30%. I think it's too much. We'll make it 20. Yeah, that's good enough. And then we'll give it a box shadow also. So we can say 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 888. See how it looks. It looks fine, I think. Yeah, that's fine. You can style it the way you want to. The idea is not the style. The idea is to give you the logic how it works. Okay, great. And then we need to give it a position, absolute. Okay, and then the position relative to its parent. So its parent is this container. So class name container. So let's start with that as well. Position relative. So it's going to be in relation to this container, and then we'll give it a top. Currently, let me see if top 0. How does that look? Yeah, that's good. And give it a Z index also of, let's say, 999. So Z index, and the Z index of the burger icon should be less, so menu button should be less, so it appears on top actually. Menu button position relative, Z index would be, let's say, 99. Okay. Okay, we haven't given it a background. That's the reason it's not being visible like that. So background color would be FFF. Brilliant. Now it's visible. Okay. So what we actually want to do is basically when the user clicks on this menu button, then this sidebar should be opened. Okay. So what we can do is basically we're going to push the sidebar into a negative left. Okay, which means it should be going inside of this left. So what we can do is we can come over here. Let's close all of this. Okay, and we can say left minus. So what's the width? Width is 20 VW. So we'll give it, let's say, 22 VW minus. So it's gonna, so you can see now it's not visible. It's there, but it's not visible. So if you do an inspect element, let's see, div container nav. So you can see it's there, but it's not visible, right? Because it's this left is in negative. So what we want to do is basically bring it on when the user clicks on the menu icon. Okay, we can increase the size of the menu icon by saying its font size would be 20 pixels. Yes, I think even more, 36. Sorry, 36. Much better. Okay, great. In fact, it's too much. I think 30 is good. Yeah. Okay. So what we want to do is click on this. So let's go to this button and add on click event, inline event, and we'll create a function on top which will handle this. So this dot handle, sorry, handle button or menu button click, and I'm going to use an arrow function, and of course we need to define the state also, which, so we can say constructor, we need to initialize this state, so not super here, sorry, props. Okay, then say super props and initialize the state over here. So we can say this dot state is equal to, and I can put a property like is sub menu or is sidebar open, and initially we can set to false, and then when the user clicks on this, so let's put this dot, so this method will be called when user clicks on this, and I'm going to say this dot set state. When the user clicks on it, then go ahead and open it. So I'll say is sidebar open, and we'll say not this dot state dot is sidebar open. So what this will do is basically, if the value of the is sidebar open is false, is going to set this to true. So this not operator is going to reverse the value. So if it's false, it'll make it true. If it's true, it will make it false, which means if the sidebar is open, close it, and if it's closed, then open it. So that's what it does. Okay, great. So let's see if that works. So I'm just going to console log to see if we are actually getting that value first before we start putting more logic to it. Okay, so I'll say state this dot state. See, we click on it, sure enough you can see that it's happening. You can also go to React Developer Tool and you can check it here also. So I can go to my component home, and you can see currently it's true. So I can move it this side. Currently it's true. If I click on it, it becomes false. Again click on it, becomes true. Okay, I think we should also add a cursor pointer to the button. So cursor, not color, cursor pointer. Okay, great. Now the next thing is that we need to basically add a class over here so that the property can change. Okay, so inside of the nav we can set a class name and say nav, and over here we can check if the value is true or false over here. So I can use object deconstructor, and I can say is sidebar open is equal to this dot state. Okay, so this is equivalent to saying is sidebar open is equal to this dot state dot is sidebar open. Okay, but we are using object destructuring, which means pulling out this variable out of it. Okay, that's a ES6 syntax. So now over here we can check if sidebar is open, then go ahead and add the class. So first I think we should use this backticks, and give it a class name of nav already. Okay, and then we'll use this is sidebar open, which means if the value is true, then add the class show. Otherwise, say hide. Okay, so now we can go ahead and go to our style.css, come over here on top, inside of nav, or not inside of nav, I can just say nav.show. Then all we have to do is just change the left to 0, right? Actually, I should put the menu items here and not there. Okay, what I'm going to do is I move everything, which means width, box shadow, position, all of this elements on top to the container. We don't need this over here. Over here. Okay, great. Now so nav basically is the container of this entire element, hence I have gone ahead and given it a position absolute, and this is having a position relative. Okay, so earlier the left was -22 VW, and when it's shown, then left becomes 0. Okay, and do we then need hide? I don't think we need hide. We don't need it. Okay, let's see how it looks. Great, awesome. So you can see, if we click on that, it opens. Of course, I don't have room to unopen it. I have to change the top from there. So top, if I make it 30, then I'll be able to do that. So you can see it's happening, right? Brilliant, guys. So you can see that you have actually made the menu, okay, Mmenu, and I think the width is too low. So let's make it 30. Better. Okay, great. So you can see it's happening. The only thing we want to do now is basically add an option for transition. Okay, so we have some effects. So what we can do is, inside of nav, we can add a transition effect. Transition 1 second. What do you want to put transition on? We want to put transition on left property, and then we want to do it inside of 3 seconds, let's say 0.3 seconds, and I want to say ease in, and let's see how that goes. So now if you click, you can see, awesome, great, it's happening, right? So congratulations, guys, you've made your menu and menu sidebar, because there are times when clients would say do not use any packages. I know there are lots of packages available which makes it super easy, just install it, use it, but sometimes they give you access to some properties and methods that you don't understand, and it's difficult to integrate them. So this you can make your own, and you can see how simple it is. Okay, there are a few things that I'd like to share with you that of course, this transition property may not be compatible to all browsers, so you have an option of an auto prefixer. So you can take the whole thing, just an example, paste it here, and you can get all of this information right here. So all browser compatibility. Okay, just an example. Okay, great. So now, not this one, this one. Okay, so you have this. Now what we can also do is we can create a cross button, and the job of which will be to close this. So let's do that. So I'll come on top, I'll go to Font Awesome, I'll look for a cross button. So cross, do I have cross? I do actually, this one, times. Okay, and what I can do is, inside of the nav item, I can come over here, I can create a div, let's say a div, and just put that inside of this, and I can give it a class name of close. Okay, and then I can put an event, the same event over here, which I put over here, so I don't have to create a new one. I can give it an event. So when you have these multiple things, you can break them into multiple lines also if you have multiple attributes like this, so it's easier to read. And of course, if you don't have anything inside of this tag, you can just use a closing tag instead. So that's what is being complained about. Okay, great. So let's see how that goes. Open it. You have a cross button. All I have to do is just style it properly. So let's go over here. Let's give it some padding. Padding 16 pixels, 0. Okay, 10 pixels. Okay, let's just keep it 0 for now. And then display flex, justify content, flex end. Okay, and this is top bottom, this is left and right, so I need to move it and to make it padding slightly. Okay, great. Okay, I'll just take this and put that to the close class. Okay, great. And now I think we need a border. It's not looking good over here. We need a border. So instead of box shadow, we can actually give a border. This is transition. Let's change this to border. Let's move it. Border. See if that looks better. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll say border width actually. 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 1 pixel, and then I don't want to give it on the left hand side. Border style, solid. Border color, 888. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, it's fine now. And I can set this top back to 0. Where's my top? Let's see. Brilliant, awesome. Minus pixel. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so if you click on this, you can see it's open. Close it. Of course, it's not one of the most beautiful one. I will work on the CSS and then upload it on the Git repository. You can check it. I don't want to spend too much time in writing CSS over here, but you get the idea. That's how you create this. And if you click on all of this, you can see that it's working. The links are working. So that's pretty much it. And if I just had to give you a recap of what we just did, I'll just go to home.js. So what we did is we created a container, we created a button, we went through looping through each of the menu items because we had created our menu data inside of the menu data.js. So we looped through this array of items, and we had the URLi with the key as item.label, and then we had the href as the URL, and then we had item.label as the link. Okay, and then what we did is basically added an event on the button that whenever the button is clicked, so let me go back. Whenever this button is clicked, basically first initialize the is sidebar open value to false inside of the constructor by setting its initial state, and then whenever this button is clicked, then go ahead and set the state value of the reverse of what it was. So if it was close, open it. If it was open, close it. So it was false earlier. If you click on it, it becomes true. So if you check inside of React and go to home, click on it, so you can see now if you close it, it becomes false. You click back again, it becomes true. So that's what we are doing at toggling over there. And then inside of the nav, which is basically the container of this entire menu, we are going ahead and setting the class as show. So if this is true, set the value of the class to show. Okay, add the class show over there, and over here we are setting the show to left 0. So initially we are setting the left to -32, so that it goes, you know, in the negative of the screen from the left. Okay, and then when the user clicks on it, it's actually going back to 0. That's why you're able to see this. So left becomes 0 now, and now left becomes -32, and we've added a transition to ease in. That's why you see this beautiful effect, right? If you check the element as to see what's going on, this is the container, this is our nav. You click on it, you can see what's happening. Left is 0. Click on this, you can see left becomes 32 VW. Okay, great, awesome. And then you have the cross button, which again handles the same, uses the same method, goes ahead and sets the value of is sidebar open to false if it was true. Okay, so that's how you're able to close this menu icon, sorry, menu bar. Okay, great. So that's pretty much it. I hope you did like the video. If you did, please give a thumbs up, and do subscribe to my channel. If you would like me to make more videos, you can put a comment. If you have any questions, if you didn't understand anything, you can put it in the comment box and let me know what you want me to make next. Okay guys, so see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.